Hello everyone, welcome to another Star Citizen Addicts Anonymous. I am Nikki Batgirl D'Angelo and this is episode 38. And today's episode is the unveiling of the Mustang. Wow, right? Well, we'll get to that in a few minutes. So this past week I had an enormous response to last week's episode, and all I can say is thank you to every single one of you that commented, shared, and liked that episode. It really made me feel good, and it's going to make it so I challenge myself to get better at doing that type of episode. It took a really long time, too. I think I started coming up with the copy on Thursday or Friday last week, and by the time Monday hit, I had rewritten every story about 4 or 5 times. Well, the long and the short of it is, it's going to take me longer to do those episodes, but if that's the response I get, who cares? You guys deserve it, and so do I. I like doing that. So let's move on to the past week, all right? CIG has been extremely busy, and we're not going to go in order. I'm going to pick stories out one by one. The first one, Chris Roberts put up another letter on Friday about the patch. The patch is delayed again, may be out by the time you watch this episode, but they're taking the time to make sure it's done right. And I really appreciate that. I don't want to see the patch come out with just the little tidbits of things and some special things that they give us and having to fix the rubber banding bug later. I like the way that they're doing this. So what he said was, it's taking them a while. They couldn't really track it down, but they're finally on track to making it work. And another little bug popped up sometime in the middle of Friday. They'll have that squashed. And we're all going to be happy because 12.5 is going to be out and there's a couple surprises in there. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate all the hard work that each and every one of you do over at CIG in Santa Monica, Manchester, Austin, and every one of the other offices. Oh, wow, this just in. Totally forgot about this. You know, guys, Wes does the whole truth, and he's amazing at it. Challenges me to get better every week just by watching him, which is why I changed my format to be more editorial and to do the in-game news. Well, Wes is amazing, and he and his wife just had a baby. I want each and every one of you that watch my episode to go out there and make sure you congratulate them. And that's an order. All right, we're moving on with the news again. Over the past couple of weeks, we've been getting a couple of those inside CIG reports and sneak peeks on ATV. And this week, we got a couple. So let's go back a couple of weeks, all right? We got the Asteroid Hangar. Gorgeous, right? Beautiful. Well, this week on ATV, around the verse, they gave us this. That's the Business Hangar. And I'm so glad that I have that top secret account with the Avenger in it. So I'll be able to walk around and do a review of that hangar when it comes out. Look at it. What are those ships doing? I always wondered where new starships came from. I wonder if that's what takes so long. Hey guys, hurry it up. Sorry. Anyway, with that said, the hangars, the way that they're doing the updates are just incredible, right? They're adding animations, adding the room system, and just detailing it right down to every last little piece. And it's so impressive and such high fidelity. It makes me wonder, am I ever going to have the right system to run this game? So they're also working on the discount hangar and the deluxe hangar. And I forget that one because to me it's the Buck Rogers hangar. But the deluxe hangar, and I have that one, but I know in a few weeks when the Asteroid Hangar is out, I'm going to be getting that. So if all these hangars come out at the same time, I'm hoping that one of y'all will let me take a walk around your discount hangar or your deluxe hangar so I could do a review on those. So the next thing up in what's happening with CIG is going to be this new inside CIG that got released on Friday, and that's the planet side module. Just take a look at it. We're talking about fidelity inside the hangar. That's just incredible. And what they're saying is that picture these streets and these alleys and these different shops loaded with people, not just a couple, not like walking around Ogremar and seeing like a bunch of players, but fully packed with people inside these malls and different places. That's going to be incredible. And of course we got the Great Cat buggies. You figure we advanced that far and the Great Cat buggy is the only automobile we have on a planet like that. Come on, guys, make me a Rolls Royce or a Porsche or a McLaren, right? So we got some information about Squadron 42. They've been telling us about gray boxing out missions and white boxing out ships and all this other wonderful stuff. But they reached a milestone. They actually have missions 1 and 3 playable. It doesn't mean the game's ready to come out or that we're going to see them. It's an important milestone because they could start play testing it and doing QA on them. And that's a very important step in the process of creating a game. So this means that they're rolling right along, and I'm very excited about Squadron 42. I've played every single one of Chris Roberts' games, all of them, and I love the style of that single-player dynamic mission campaign that he does. I call them space operas. I can't wait to get in-game and play it. And of course, I do want to play the player universe too, the persistent universe, but I'm really here for Squadron 42, and then I'm here for Star Citizen. But, you know, that means that one's here and one's there. Pretty big, right? So with that, you know, let's move on to the next piece. The next piece is going to be the new jump point, right? And that's going to get us right back into my Mustang, okay? Yeah, I'm a sucker for a Mustang. Car, plane, starship. I don't know whether it's the name of it or what. I think it's the beautiful white stallion look of it that always makes me, you know, say, wow. And when you think of the P-51D, how gorgeous it was, and you think about this ship, it's just amazingly beautiful. So Jump Point came out, and it featured 3 stories that have to do with the Mustang. The work in progress on the Mustang, the corporate profile, and the system profile. So Consolidated Outland's profile, the Bremen system guide, and the Mustang work in progress. And I'm not going to give away anything but a couple of pictures up here. I'm sure they'll put it out in the link in about a month or so. But this is very, very interesting. I have a big feeling, well, I have an inside scoop. So while we're talking about this, let's just talk about Star Citizen Informer, that wonderful podcast that I do with the amazing Dr. Hawk. This week we had Ben Lesnick on it, and he had this to say.
So when the Gladius is finished, not too far off into the future, it's because they needed it for the first couple missions of Squadron 42, and also it'll work in Arena Commander.
So if I held my breath, would I die before the Gladius came out?
Yes, but not by much.
Okay. Well, we know it's not coming out tomorrow because nobody slipped us any kind of a... There's a ship sale, so my wallet definitely took a sigh of relief. Actually, my purse, it's still in the freezer right now. So
we may have something tomorrow. It's in flux right now. It's waiting on the patch, basically.
Oh my God.
It's
You're a bad man.
It's not the Gladius.
It's not a constellation.
No. But those aren't too far off either.
All right. Ships, they're coming at us. So I played that now because I'm thinking that the Mustang is probably going to come out either in patch 12.5 or definitely in Gamescom. So for all of you folks going to Germany, I want pictures, I want stories, I want a Skype interview. Tell me what you thought, all right? theaddictedgamer@gmail.com, and I will send you my Skype contact info if you send me an email if you're going to be at Gamescom. All right, so that is it. So we're going to now move on to my counterpart in the Star Citizen universe, Nicole D'Angelo. Hello, and welcome to another UEE Citizen Report with Nicole D'Angelo. Today is July 29th, 2944. For tonight's top story, we travel to Aramis, which is a system located close to Vanduul-controlled space. In this remote system, the young pilots are taking part in an insane and very dangerous activity called blading. Now what blading is the act of jumping into a Vanduul-controlled system, gaining attention of some of the Vanduul, getting them to lock on, which is utterly insane, and then trying to outmaneuver the Vanduul and jump home to safety. Now, this is just utterly insane and just outright suicide. 35 young pilots have met their end in the past 18 months because of this dangerous activity. This has caused the Aramis Systems local government to call an emergency meeting to vote on restricting access to the jump gates to young adults over 21 or those that are accompanied by an adult. Now, we understand that some of the propaganda videos and some of the movies that have been out recently paint a picture that the Vandal are very easy to shoot down. In reality, they're vicious and they are dangerous, and they are trained from an early childhood how to fly the fighters that they do. Parents, please explain to your children how dangerous this activity is, and please contact your local representative so they can vote to restrict the jump gates and keep our people safe. Leave the fighting to the brave men and women of the UEE Navy and Marine Corps and their F-7A Hornets and F-8 Lightnings. The next story comes to us from a number of merchant pilots flying in and around the Stanton system. It seems that there is a virus that has caused the quarantine of the R-Corp station there. This virus is being called lynch fever, and right now very little is known about it. What's even more concerning is that the pilots are now stating that the quarantine is spreading to other stations in the star system. The UEE Public Health Society outright denies such claims. But people, I have a feeling that this might be true. The stories come from very reputable sources. If any pilots flying in and around the Stanton system have any more information to provide us, please get it to us at the following email address, theaddictedgamer@gmail.com. On last week's show, we highlighted the conversion of the Aegis Dynamics Gladius for civilian use. Aegis Dynamics also has this ship behind me. Yes, that's the Retaliator, undergoing its own conversions. The conversions have been going on for about 9 months. We had 2 sales of Retaliators last year, both of them selling out rather quickly. The Aegis Dynamics Retaliator has been a long-range bomber for quite a long time, carrying out raids on both capital ships and enemy planets. The conversion does a very unique thing though. In the conversion, you're going to see modules that will be fitted within the many bomb bays of the Retaliator, and these will be able to add torpedo bays or cargo, a captain's quarters or med bay, and many other modules. These modules give the civilian version of the Retaliator much more of a role than just flying long range to take out an enemy ship. I can't wait to see one of these, especially the one with captain's quarters. These are looking beautiful and should be available to start flying in just a few months. At last year's new Starship show, RSI's Aurora LN took the UEE by surprise. When we went there, we expected to see more yachts, more fighters, and more luxury craft, but instead the big crowds were around RSI's economy ship, the LN. The LN is not replacing any of the other variants, but being produced to be sold alongside them. This is an upscale model with increased armament. It has a larger power plant, a larger main thruster, more maneuvering jets, thus bigger, better, badder, stronger. Well, this year, a year later, we're starting to wonder what will take the prize in this year's new Starship show in Santa Barbara. Well, it looks like it might be a newcomer. Silas Kohlerner from the Bremen system, owner of Consolidated Outland, who's been making conversion kits for many different spacecraft, including the F-7C, converting them for a look and feel of an F-7A, is now getting into the Starship business with this ship. That is the Mustang. The Mustang is made from 50 unique alloys found in the Bremen system, making it even easier for Consolidated Outland to produce in their home system. It's meant to be lighter, faster, more maneuverable, and more heavily armed than the other economy ships like the Aurora and some of the 300 series. The ship is still yet to fly in public, but we're awaiting it very, 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 very soon. I think we might be seeing the unveiling of this ship within the coming weeks. The ship itself, it has kind of an alien feel to it. Currently, only one Starship company has that feel, and that is MISC. However, that's because they are partnered with Xi'an technology. This ship over here is 100% out of the mind of Silas Kohlerner. Now, Silas is not available for any kind of comment, and we've been trying to get to his PR people, but they keep on telling us to just sit and wait. The Mustang is going to prove to be this year's most popular ship. Already the popularity over the boards is overwhelmingly successful. People are already lining up outside of one of their dealers to pick up one of these beautiful ships. The variants still have not been announced. However, we do believe that there will be a militia or military light trainer, and there may even be a race version of this ship. The ship itself, little is known about it at this point. As soon as it's released, we'll obtain one for review here on our show. Speaking of reviews, because we're talking about the new Starship show, and because we're talking about the Mustang, I thought it would be a good thing to take a step back to last year and review the Aurora LN. So let's take a look at the Aurora LN ship review now. Thank you for joining me for another ship review. Today we'll be reviewing the Aurora LN. But before us right now is the winner of the 2943 Best in Show at the new Starship show on Bremen. And this is the Aurora LX, a single-seat exploration version of the Aurora. And then, of course, we're going to take you to the newest of the Aurora line, the 2944 Aurora LN, which won Best in Show last year. Why are we talking about this now? Well, I thought I'd review last year's winner with the new Starship show coming close and the 2945 new Starship season almost upon us. Consolidated Outland is sure to take all of the popularity away from some of these ships like the 300i series and the Aurora with their new Mustang. So here is last year's most popular new Starship. It's the Aurora LN from Roberts Space Industries. The sharp lines and very sleek look to it easily identify it as one of the company's starships. Now this isn't just an upgraded variant, this is a new space frame. It's sporting 4 Class 1 mounts and an upgraded power plant to be able to drive them. You also have the missile rack on top. The Class 3 is going to be filled with the Bearing Marksman Heat Seeker missiles. What else do we have here? Well, we have the largest one of all of the shields from the Aurora line with the Gorgon Defender All-Stop. We also have upgraded maneuvering jets. There are 8 instead of 6 on the Aurora MR. So this should be a more maneuverable craft. Well, in theory, the craft is slightly heavier and carrying more armament, so there may be an increase in maneuverability that doesn't really show from the increase in numbers of maneuvering thrusters. The increased maneuverability and increased armament are going to be very important for new Starship buyers out on the fringes of UEE space now that the Vanduul are starting to make attacks deep within our own territory. As we walk in the back, we see the TR2 thruster that's made by OKB Vashkud. It's an Energia 4. Now, most of the people that own this ship are going to be first-time Starship buyers. So this is going to be their first taste of a true multi-role craft. Let's walk underneath and see where the cargo container will be pulled up and slid down these rails and held in place, allowing for 16 freight units of cargo. This ship will be able to handle most of the light transport routes. Let's go back outside. Over here, we have one of the fans that aid in vertical landing. Right now, it's in the closed position. As we walk down, we see the landing gear and the front fan. There it is. We take another look at the cockpit, which definitely marks it as a RSI ship. All-round visibility makes this a very, very, very pleasant ship to fly. Now, these aren't ships that are seeking combat. They're ships that are seeking to self-defend themselves. Let's go inside and take a look. Over here in the back of the ship is a small area where the pilot can rest. A hypersleep chamber allowing pilots the needed rest on long journeys. this particular ship does have a jump engine. All right. Unlike the other variants of the Aurora, this one's power plant is so large it obstructs the view out the rear transparisteel. Let's move ourselves back into the cockpit and take a look around. There's not a lot to say about this cockpit. Not a lot of places to sit down and eat, relax. Just the chair and the bed. As we slide ourselves around and get into the seat, you can see the all-round visibility that you get in the ship. Now, some people have said that being that it's 2944, that why haven't they gotten rid of some of the framework in the canopy and gone with one of those all-glass or one of the all-transparent steel canopies that are now becoming popular in some ships? Well, the reason is they love the design of the ship and they don't want to take away the roots that RSI has built with this. Now remember, the Aurora is an old ship. It's been around for a while, and some people buying it today are actually third-generation Aurora owners. Yes, it's been around for a very long time. Now, as we step back outside and take a look at it, the ship itself is a gorgeous ship for a first-time buyer. Definitely not as good as the Freelancer we just looked at, but a beautiful ship nonetheless. All-round visibility, very small, hard target to find, but still capable of making those early cargo runs if you're looking to start a merchant career, or enough armament to hold your own if you're looking to be a bounty hunter or mercenary. That's today's review. Next week we'll have a surprise, but you'll have to tune in to see what it is. And thank you for joining us this week on the UEE SITREP. If you have any comments, please make sure to leave them in this week's video's comments section. And if you want to be a contributor to this show, please make all contributions to the addictedgamer@gmail.com. Those contributions can be written copy, spoken word, or you can video yourself and send it along, and we will play them here. Thank you all, and good night. Okay, so there you go. Another news from far off in the future. And that was pretty cool, right? So, as you see there, there's a new name for the show this week from last week, and it's SITREP. And I was thinking about calling it SITREP, like the UEE SITREP, Situation Report. And somebody said, why don't you call it UEE SITREP, Being Citizen Report? I'm going with that. And that person is in the forums over on the Den, so we're going to work out how they're going to be the winner of the Name the Star Citizen AA News Show contest. And that's only if this sticks. If you like the UEE SITREP name, please comment below. All right, let's move on to the next piece. Remember, I told you all to go out and congratulate Wes, right? So the next piece is a Super Hornet contest. We're having that Super Hornet contest for the drive to 1,000 subscribers. We're getting closer every single day. We're at 884, almost 115 away. And your shares and your likes and your comments have been helping out a bunch, because if you search Star Citizen in YouTube now, I've actually made it onto the front page of searches in most of the people's computers. It actually depends on your search history. If you want to see an accurate account of it, log out of your Google account and see what comes up. That's how I actually found that out on a couple of different people's computers. So that's pretty good, right? So the F7CM is donated by Ben Lesnick at Cloud Imperium Games, and we're giving it away to the winner. It's going to be a random drawing from all the entries that we receive. The way that you enter is by sharing the episode on Twitter, Facebook, and Google+. All right? Take a screenshot of your shares, send them to me over at theaddictedgamer@gmail.com, and make sure Super Hornet Contest is in the subject field. That's it. All right. So next piece is going to be Star Citizen Informer. We've talked about it twice. I do it with Dr. Hawk. Well, the first one of those episodes was really, really rough, if at all, maybe unlistenable, but it was a test. The second one was rough. It was with Will, and it worked out really well. and mainly not because of the content, because of how horrible I was at editing them in the beginning. I did a podcast years ago, I've told you all this before, and now it seems that without Soundtrack Pro, which was part of the Final Cut package years ago, I'm finding it like I have to learn a new workflow, and I'm almost there. And I think number 3 with Ben Lesnick was a good advance for the show. So next time I'm hoping to have David Haddock or one of the other developers there in Santa Monica. Then I'm going to start hitting up people either in Manchester if they let me, but they're really hard at work at Squadron 42, or Austin if they let me. I'm going to see who they let us have on. But please go out and look at it on iTunes. The direct link to it is starcitizeninformer.com, and I've applied for it to be added to Stitcher for those people that aren't using iTunes. All right, and of course the show is made possible by patrons. And all of you that have donated to the show, thank you so very much for helping me make it possible. And even more so to the people that watch, comment, and like the show each week, because without you, there's no reason to be here. If you do feel like for supporting the show, go out to patreon.com/Batgirl. And you could donate as little as $1 a show. You can cap it at a maximum amount per month, or you can make a single donation over at the starcitizenaa.com website. If you do, thank you very much. If you don't, still thank you for watching the show. I really appreciate it. And with that said, I have just one last thing to say. You all be safe out there, and I'll see you here next week. Thank you. Bye. Of those proved to be so successful, the bombers were sold out in a mere matter of minutes. Today, we're seeing the fruit. Today, we're starting to see the final pictures of the conversions. The conversions should be complete soon. There's a cat on my desk. Why is there a cat on my desk? Excuse me, there's a cat on my desk. Excuse me.